Hey there guys, today we'll be painting Halbarad the Cleric from Reaper Miniatures to the Ultimate level standard. First thing we want to do is grab a scalpel or other sharp blade and gently trim the casting line off the model. Make sure you're very careful at this step to avoid injury. Ultimate level miniatures come with a base and a little pot of gravel. Get some super glue and carefully stick them to the top of the base. Next, apply some more glue to the top of the base and sprinkle the gravel over the top. Finally, add some more glue and dip him in a cup of salt to fill in the gaps. I've given the model a base coat of ultramarine shadow using my airbrush, but you can do this by hand if you like. Let's get the messy steps out of the way first. Paint his base with rainy grey. It helps if you use a larger brush for this step. Next, take some foggy grey and a large soft brush such as an old makeup brush. Wipe most of the paint off on a rag and then lightly dry brush this over the base to bring out the detail. Make sure you repaint any bits of his cloak where the dry brush may have touched by accident. Start by layering his cloak over the dark base coat with a 50-50 mix of ultramarine shadow and ultramarine blue. Next, add some more ultramarine blue into the mix and layer up again, leaving the previous layer showing around the edges to build up a graduation of colour. Following this, use ultramarine blue on its own, painting a progressively smaller area each time. Layer the highest folds of the fabric with a 50-50 mix of ultramarine blue and ultramarine highlight. Lastly, add a little more ultramarine highlight into the mix and paint a highlight line along the very edges of his cloak and the highest points of the raised folds. Base coat his armour and hammer with sparkling blue. Next, add some tarnished steel into the sparkling blue and layer up the armour, leaving the metallic blue in the shadows and recesses. Layer again with tarnished steel on its own, concentrating on the upper surfaces of the armour. Finish this step by painting a highlight line of true silver along the edges of all his armour plates. Base coat his skin and the pages of his book with a mix of vampiric skin and rainy grey. You may need 2 thin coats of this to go over such a dark undercoat. Layer this with vampiric skin. Lastly, use vampiric highlight to do the final layer on his face and a highlight line on the pages of his book. Paint the wrappings on his hammer and the cover of his book with rainy grey that has a dab of ultramarine blue added in. Base coat his belts and his hair with rainy grey. Highlight this with foggy grey. For fine details, paint the shield-shaped thingies with tarnished copper. Do a small highlight line on the top edge with a mix of tarnished copper and tarnished steel. And with that, the model is done. Now don't forget to like and subscribe, check out our other videos, and we will see you soon.